here is the thing. So the will of a man, Satan knew he had to gain control of mankind. And the only way he could do it after the fall. See, the only reason a man fell was, remember what he told the woman? He said, look, said when she saw that the tree was good for food and a tree to be desired to make one wise, said, then she took of the fruit thereof and did eat and gave to her husband there with her. And he did eat. So he changed her perception. He had to change her perception concerning that fruit and that tree. Because the perception of a person is the world they live in. So perception, remember this, has to do with your mind. Perception provokes the will to make a decision. Okay, all right, okay. So, if the right perception can be created in people's minds, it will lead to decisions made out of that perception, and that decision is made out of their emotion. Yeah, this is all complicated, Brother Robin. No, the devil is beating the brains out of the body of Christ because he knows this and they don't know it. Now, just stay with me a little bit. Now, in this time, right now, Satan has reached for the control of men's souls. Their minds, their will, and their emotions. He creates a perception that a certain sickness is the greatest killing machine the world has ever seen, when in fact it is probably the weakest. The flu is still greater. Not that it's not real, it's just that it doesn't have the strength we're told it has. A certain sickness. Now, yeah, okay, just stay with me. But it doesn't matter now because the perception has been created. And the perception has led to decision. So people needed something they could do. Because the perception was created by whoever, that if you contract this certain thing, you're dead. There's no way out of it. It's gone. You're over your history. They send your saddle home. You have done this thing. When in fact, even the elderly that caught it was only a tiny percent that it ever was fatal. But it doesn't matter. Perception has been made. And people live in perception as their reality. Okay. I see. I see what I'm up against. Now watch this. People, I'm just kidding. People needed something they can do. So the absurd solution was given that a mask would protect them. When in fact, 5 of them will not. You can put 5 on your face, hold a mirror up, breathe, and it'll fog it up. But people could see it, they could feel it, and they felt in control. When the whole fact, Satan had launched an attack for the soul. And he had to create a perception and another world to get them all to move into it, so that when they moved into this perception world, that they would make decisions according to this world. That's what you do every day. You make decisions according to the world you live in. Is that not true? So if you could be hurled into a world that's not real, but you believed it so, then your soul will make decisions. And the only decision in this false perception of this world could only be made out of fear. You went into survival mode. Maybe this is too heavy for a Sunday morning. I should have saved it for an 11th hour. Or talk to Steve about it. But if you want to hear it, I will tell you. Now, watch this. So they came up with an absurd solution that this would protect them, when in reality, 5 of them would not. But people could see it. They could feel it, so it satisfied them that they were in control, doing something. But the wearing of it was a decision made out of fear. They then began to broaden the perception because they saw it work. So they broadened the perception into other nations, that this pestilence was filling these other nations from corner to corner. There was one particular nation, if I called it, they're watching probably today, that when it was at its epic, they were saying there's no way. You enter in, you cross the line in this nation and you're doomed. You can't do this, you can't. And somebody left that nation, came back here and said, there ain't nothing happening like what y'all think is. It's because it is a perception created. It has, if Satan's going to steal a soul, I'm not talking about a spirit. He can't get your spirit unless you just turn your back on God and start going in and having communion with Satan. But if he's after the soul of a man, because the soul of a man is what he uses in this world. It cries for something. He can bring it about and create a false narrative. Why? Because words create pictures. So you're told long enough. Then you start living in this narrative, making decisions out of emotion. Until people's souls are bought. Now, watch this. So they saw it work, so they had to broaden this perception. So they began to spread it among the nations that this is worldwide, man. This is awful. This is the meanest thing the world has ever seen. Well, the bubonic plague killed 200 million. As Mark used to say, this is not even on the same street address with the Black Death. But all the time on the Worldometer, you pull that up and look at it, and abortion is over 40 million in 1 year. 1 year. That's every year. You can't even find this one on it. You have to start a search through it. And when I was in D.C., the narrative was up on a sign. And Randy was there. He saw it. It was on the sign. And this is what it said. All these flags you see are for people who have died because of it. That could have been somebody going to get medicine. There's never a straight answer. Why? It's because the stealing, the overthrowing of a soul has begun. So then they begin to broaden it and to spread it and broaden this world. And this perception was being made so that the decisions would be made worldwide. A great death-filled perception produces a great fear-filled decision. Once it comes to this, a person is willing to make decisions that will not only change their life, but could change their very genetic codes. Because the person at that decision point is a slave to the perception.